Hey guys, welcome back to Cheryl K's Cooking Diaries, and I've got another good recipe for y'all this evening. We're going to make a chicken and gravy buttermilk pot pie, and it is so good. It is, I can't even tell you how good this is. But anyway, give me just a minute and I'm going to show you everything goes into this. Alright guys, first of all, you're going to need about 1.5 pounds, maybe 2 pounds of chicken breast. My chicken has been washed and it's been trimmed. My counters are clean. My cutting board was sanitary before I started. But I have cut up 1 piece of chicken breast so far, and I've got it here in this pot. And all I'm doing is just cutting it up into chunks. And you're going to need 1 packet of the chicken and gravy mix. I use the McCormick, but you can use any brand that you like. I like the McCormick because they have the 30% less sodium. You're going to need 1 can of the Campbell's cream of chicken soup. And you are going to need 2 cups of chicken broth. I use the unsalted. All right. And then some seasonings I'm going to be using on my chicken breast. Oh, so I'm going to put a can of, not a whole can of corn. I'm just going to put some of the corn, maybe 1/4 of a cup or so. And I'm going to do the same with these. These are the early peas. We like them the best. And I'm going to do this 1/4 cup of those too. And I'm going to do a few carrots also. So anyway, on the crust, this is what you're going to need for the crust. You're going to need 1/2 cup of butter melted. You're going to need 1 cup of self-rising flour and 1 cup of buttermilk. And then you're going to preheat your oven to 425, and you need to spray your dish down with cooking spray. Now I'm using a 9x13, I believe it is tonight. I'm using my bigger casserole dish, so I'm going to use that. And it doesn't take it too long to bake. You just need to make sure your crust gets done, because everything else that's going in it is basically already going to be cooked. Because we're going to take our chicken breast after we cube it up, and we're going to put some water in our pot, and we're going to put it on the stove, and we're going to boil it until it's done. And it doesn't take chicken breast long to boil, especially when you cut it up into chunks like I'm doing. So, like I told you, I had 1 breast already cut up in here. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to cut up this chicken breast. And I know y'all know how to cut up chicken breast. And really, you can do your chicken breast any way that you like it. But I like to cut it into chunks, because it does get done quicker when I boil it. It's just better for this casserole. So that's all I'm doing with this chicken breast. I'm just cutting it into chunks. I forgot to tell you, I do put one other thing in this. I do put some potatoes, but these is 3 small ones. And I'm going to see how much that makes once I start dicing them up into. So I'm going to go ahead, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to get these peeled. But my peas and my corn, I need to make a correction. I meant to say 1/2 cup of corn and 1/2 cup of peas, not 1/4 of a cup, because my Lord, that wouldn't be hardly anything, right? So I have some carrots here. And I'm going to be slicing these up. And then my peas and corn, I've got them measured out and into a bowl and in the refrigerator. So we're good there. So we just got to do our carrots and our potatoes, and we'll have them and then we'll put them to the side. But, well, our potatoes, what we're going to do with them is we're going to put them in a pot and we're going to boil them. That way we get them almost done. That way it doesn't take this casserole to bake. So anyway, give me just a minute and I'll be right back when I get these peeled. Okay, guys, let's get these cut up here into some chunks so I can get them in my little pot of water I got over here. Because I'm not going to have anything big, because these are small. Because we're not, I don't put a lot of potatoes in mine. So, listen, they don't have to be any certain way. Just cut them up however y'all like them. But I will tell you this. The smaller you cut them, when you go to boil them, the more you're going to lose. Because if you've ever noticed when you boil potatoes, how cloudy your water looks afterwards, that's because some of your potato has dissolved in the water. So you don't want to chunk them up too small. Leave them, I don't know. I'm going to leave mine about that size to boil them. And if I need to cut them down a little bit more when I get ready to put them in, I will do so. But this isn't going to make very many of them anyway. Because like I said, I didn't want many in it. It's just a little over a cup. It's just it's about a heaping cup full of taters. So what I'm going to do with these are going to go on the stove and they're going to boil until they're almost done. So anyway, while we're waiting on that, I'm going to go ahead and cut up some carrots. And all I do is, of course, I just dice them up. Nothing special, guys. Nothing special. And washed, by the way, guys. Just so you know. I was trying to see if... Okay, guys. What I'm going to do next is we're going to go ahead and spray our casserole dish with cooking spray. Just spray enough to keep it from sticking. I don't usually have a problem, but... Okay, I think that's good enough. Alright. My carrots and potatoes are still on the stove, and they're boiling still, but they're getting almost done. And by the way, the chicken breast is done. I've already strained it, and it's in a bowl, so we're going to get ready to season that a little bit here in just a minute. Now, I take a paper towel and just kind of lightly go over this. I don't do it hard because I don't want to wipe my cooking spray back out. I just kind of, I want to get it, make sure it's all over the dish. So that's just what I do. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but I do. Okay, so I'm going to take this casserole dish. This, like I said, this was a 9 by 13. I'm going to take this casserole dish and set it to the side for right now. Need it. And now we're going to go ahead and get our chicken breast seasoned. And it took the chicken breast right about 35 minutes to boil. Somewhere in that area. Just a second, see if this is... I wanted to make sure I strained it good. It didn't have a lot of water or anything in it. You want to make sure you strain your chicken breast good after it's done boiling, y'all. First thing I'm going to use is a little bit of onion powder. Now, the seasonings, you have to season this to your taste. I cannot tell you how much seasoning to use on this because everybody likes a different taste. So there's some onion powder. And then I'm going to put in just some black pepper. Sometimes I have a hard time getting it out of my shaker, but kind of hit the bottom. It seems to do better. Okay. And then I'm going to do some parsley flakes. Just a few of those. I'm going to use some garlic powder. Because y'all know when you boil chicken, it's bland as bland can be. I don't like it like that. Alright, now these two seasonings here is just like Mrs. Dash. They're just the off-brand, and I buy these at Aldi's. My husband likes these really well, which I do too. And most of the seasonings I used are in both of these, but these two here have a few extra things in it that I didn't use. So let's go ahead and put, this is the table blend. And by the way, I don't know if any of y'all don't know this. Most of you probably do. But if you don't know, Mrs. Dash is a salt-free seasoning. So you don't have to worry about the salt. If you want some kind of seasoning and you can't have, you're restricted on your diet or something, Mrs. Dash is a good way to go for seasoning. And they're really good. And these here taste just like it. So, all right, I'm just going to use a little bit of that one. Okay, so we've got our seasonings on our chicken breast. Let me get a tablespoon out of my silverware drawer. And I'm just going to mix these together. Just mix all those seasonings together with your chicken breast. Okay. sure you get that mixed in really well. And if it is a little wet, mine's still a little wet from the water. I mean, it was strained really good, but it's still a little damp. So, and that'll help your seasonings to stick to your chicken breast too. Okay. I think that'll work. Okie doke. So now that we've got that done, I'm going to set our chicken breast to the side. And then I'm going to get me another bowl. And we're going to start making up our chicken and our gravy mixture. But let me first kind of wipe over my counter from those seasonings, so I don't get them everywhere and get them all over me. Because I will. All right. Give me just 1 second, guys. Okay, guys, here we go. My potatoes and carrots are done. Now, this is the way I do mine. Y'all don't have to do it this way if you don't want to. But see, my potatoes is kind of, I don't know, they're soft, and I got them a little doner than I should have, but it's okay. And the carrots are almost done, too, so it'll work out perfect. But that's just how I like mine. And when it goes in there, it's not a big deal, okay? So that's a cup of carrots and a cup of potatoes, as you've seen earlier. And now what we're going to do, since we got all that done, is we're going to start making up our gravy mixture. So, excuse me. So first of all, let's get our chicken broth. Or no, I'm sorry. Lord. Let's get our McCormick chicken and gravy mix. Packet of that. Let's open it. Let's pour that into a bowl. That into our bowl, and now we're going to take 1 can of the cream of chicken soup, Campbell's cream of chicken. So let me get this opened. So let's go ahead and get this in there, and I've got a spatula that will fit this. That way it doesn't tear up my other spatulas. I found a couple spatulas at Walmart that was small like this, so you could get into cans with them to where it doesn't tear up your spatula. But I'll tell you, another thing I learned with these big wide spatulas, you know, when you try to put one of them in a can like this one right here, it will shred the edges of it. It will tear it up after a while. But I'll tell you, another thing I did, I got me an old one, and I cut it off in half. And I've done it that way too, but I needed a couple new good spatulas. Okay, there's the cream of chicken soup. So let me lay that down on my napkin over here. And then we're going to need 2 cups of the chicken broth. Now, I only have a little bit left in this one. And it's 2 cups of chicken broth put in here. Okay, so all it's going to fill that one up. So I'll have to get the other one, guys. Just a second. The refrigerator, and I thought, well, why not just use that up? I shake it really good because chicken broth will settle. Okay, I don't make a mess here. I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to fill this on up. And it don't hurt to mix them. Chicken broth's pretty much chicken broth, except I buy the unsalted because I don't like all that sodium that's in the other kind. And I'm going to tell you guys, the sodium content that's in those other brands of chicken broth are unbelievable. All right. And there is the second cup. Pour it in. Now, all you got to do to this, guys, is you just got to stir this in, whisk it in. If you've got a whisk, that's the best thing to use. If you don't have a whisk, use a fork, use a spoon, use whatever you got. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to mix this gravy mix up. And I'll be back, and we'll start putting our chicken and gravy, buttermilk, pot pie together. So give me just a minute, guys. Okay, guys, let's get this going. I know this has seemed like a long video, but making a pot pie is. I mean, sometimes it takes a little longer to do certain ones. Okay, we've got our gravy mix made. Now, what we're going to start with is We're going to start with our chicken breast that we seasoned. And we've got our 9x13 casserole dish sprayed down with cooking spray. Make sure y'all can see. And I'm going to start taking this chicken. And all I'm going to do is just kind of throw it in here. I'm just going to toss it in. Get another spatula here and get some of this out. Some of them seasonings go to the bottom sometimes a little bit. We'll get all that goodness out of this bowl, that's for sure. Okay. And then just, I take my hands are clean, and I take my hand and just kind of spread it out. It don't look like a whole lot of chicken, but it's plenty for my husband and I. I think that will be plenty with everything else that's going in here, and I think y'all will see. And then lastly, guys, we'll make up our crust that goes on top of this. But right now, I want to get this together. Right. We got that in. So now what we're going to do is we are going to take our peas and corn and carrots. And we're going to dump them in. Now, I like to just use my hand to kind of do it this way. But you do it any way you want to do it. But I put all this stuff in before I put my gravy mix in. I put my gravy mix on top. But it runs down in it too. So, and if you can get it a little even across your vegetables, that would be good. Do that. That way you get some everywhere. Okay. Now, I'm going to go over to the peas. Now, remember, guys, this is a half a cup of peas, a half a cup of corn, and a cup of carrots. Or, I'm sorry. Now, I'm just going to take the carrots and the potatoes and just kind of toss them around, even though the potatoes are kind of mushy. I did get my potatoes done a little bit too much, but it's all going to be good that way. It doesn't really matter. So, okay. There's those. I will have the rest. Here we go. Here goes the gravy mix. Pour it all over. Make sure you get everything covered. Let's go all the way around it. And if you didn't get everything when you went around it the first time, you can go back over it with a spoon or something and cover everything. But this should be plenty to do this with. There we go. We got it, guys. We got it. Okay. So let me go ahead and get the rest of that out of my bowl. Okay. Now, hated me ever since, guys. When I started seasoning that chicken, it has irritated my nose ever since. So I'm sorry if I'm sniffling a lot. Okay, let's turn this baby around. Now, let me get a tablespoon. See the parts that's not covered? All you have to do is just take your spoon and just kind of cover it if you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to see some of the vegetables anyway through the gravy mix, but just kind of cover them up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so it's covered good. Now, take me a paper towel. I'm just going to go around this edges real quick. You don't have to do this, but I do. Keep my hands out of the mess that way. Okay, so I'm going to set this to the side, and then we're going to make our buttermilk crust. Just a second, guys. Okay, guys, here we go with a crust that goes on top of our chicken pot pie. All right, you want to take 1 stick of butter. You want to put it in the microwave, and you want to melt it. Most of this isn't melted, but it will when I whisk it in. So let me whisk this butter together. What we're going to do is we're going to get We're going to use 1 cup of self-rising flour. Now, I use the White Lily, but you can use any kind of flour that you like. Just as long as it's self-rising. All right, so let me get a cup out of here. There's 1 cup. We're going to need 1 cup of the buttermilk. So wait just a second, guys. Let me rinse my cup. Stick of butter, which is a 1/2 cup, and a cup of self-rising flour. And now we're going to use a cup of buttermilk. Make sure you shake your buttermilk up really good because buttermilk settles. So just make sure you give it a good shake. All right. This crust, guys, this stuff is so good. You just won't believe. It is just wonderful. Me and my husband love this crust. It is that good. This buttermilk just makes it, just gives it a great taste. All right, there's 1 cup of buttermilk. We're going to go ahead and add that to our self-rising flour. And, of course, I wouldn't have a spatula handy. Just a minute, guys. Spatula, guys, and I just like to rake the rest of what's in there out. 1/2 stick of butter that you melted, and pour it in there. We're going to stir this together, but I'm not going to use this whisk, this big spatula. It makes it hard to stir with something like that. So I'm just going to use this spoon, and we're just going to start stirring all this together with the buttermilk and the butter. It's so good. Oops. We're well on our way, guys, of being done with this chicken and gravy pot pie. And you want to make sure now you get on the bottom of your bowl because sometimes there's pockets of flour down there that I just found. So what I'm going to do, go around this like this and get what's on the bottom off. I got a lot of it, but I did see more. And you can also hold your bowl up to a light and a see-through bowl and tell if there's any on the bottom. But I'm not seeing any more. I think we got it. I think we're in good shape now. Sometimes that flour does do that. It just sticks to the bottom there. This stuff always reminds me of an icing. Use a smaller spatula I've got here, guys. I'm just washing it off because it's good to smooth things out with. So let me just dry it off. I just washed it too. Okay, so let me get our casserole dish, and we're going to go ahead and pour this. Oops, we're going to go ahead and pour this over top of our mixture we have here in our casserole dish. I just want to go over it again, make sure everything's covered. Okay. All right, you guys, let's just go ahead and start pouring this on top. Now, you just have to spread this out the best you can. That's all I can tell you with this part. Just pour it and try to get it all over if you can. I mean, that's the best I can tell you with this kind of crust because it's a little thicker. So just get it on there the best you can. Oops, just keep pouring it on there. That's all you do. You can spoon it out. You can do whatever you feel like you need to do with it, y'all. But I want to get it out. So now I'm going to take a spoon out of your silverware drawer and just spread this all over. If you get it down in the mixture, that's fine. It's not a big deal. If some of your stuff comes up to the top a little bit, just try to cover it back up. But just spread this out all over the best you can. because you want this to be kind of even all over your casserole. It may not look the best at first, but trust me, it will bake up nice. It always does for me. So just spread that all over. And I'm going to tell you what I done one time. I made one of these. And I thought, gosh, we love the buttermilk crust so well. So I doubled it. And I put it on here. And when I did, it baked up good. We sat down to eat, and my husband took a few bites, and so did I. We kind of looked up at each other, and I said, well, you know what? I said, I think that's going to be too much crust. And guys, it really was. It was so much crust. It was unreal. So I was like, no. I mean, even though we like it really well, it was way, way too much crust. So if you're thinking about maybe doubling it, I'm just here to tell you, unless you like a lot of bread and that thickness or whatever, you feel free to go right ahead and do that if that's something you like. But I'll tell you, it was pretty thick. So we didn't, don't get me wrong, the casserole was still really good. And we eat it. It was way too thick, too much crust. So, okay. We've got this pretty well evened out, the best we're going to get it. I mean, there may be a few little spots, guys, that you ain't going to be able to get in all of it. You're not going to be able to spread it out everywhere, more than likely. There's going to be these little bitty spots on the edges, probably like mine over in here. And, but that's not a big deal. It's going to bake up good. So, anyway, I'm going to put this in the oven. And when it gets done, I'll tell you how long it took to bake. But make sure your vegetables and stuff are covered the best you can get them. Just kind of go over it before you put it in the oven. So it looks like mine are pretty well covered. So, well, your oven needs to be on 425 degrees as I specified at the beginning of the video. And there is the buttermilk, or the chicken and gravy buttermilk pot pie. And I'll show y'all what this looks like when I get it done and I bring it out. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in there. And Lord, it was running on me. I didn't know that. That's all right. So when this gets done, I'll bring it out and I'll show y'all what it looks like. So I'll talk to you then. Hey guys, I'm back. And I told y'all I'd come back and show you what this looked like when it got done. And it looks really good. But I'm going to tell you, it took this anywhere between 30 to 35 minutes. Everybody's oven's a little bit different, but I'm going to tell you something that I did, show you what it looks like, and it looks really good. So give me just a minute. Okay, guys, here it is. And it's going to be so good. And this you see here, of course, you know, this is the crust that we put together with the buttermilk and the flour. So it's really, really hot. So I think I want to bring it back on and show you this. But I'll go ahead and do just a little taste test for y'all. See what it tastes like. I'll use my little bitty bowl here. So I'm just going to get me a bite. So let me get yeah, I guess I can get a fork and taste this with. Let's see here. Let's try to get this cooled down because I know this is going to be so hot to even try to taste it. We're going to do a taste test. I can get it out. Wow. That is so good, you guys. I know y'all's going to love this. Y'all got to make this. You got to try it. If you do, please share your a video even with me. I'd be glad to see it, or even a photo. Very good. Look, guys, 1 minute. Pot pie with that buttermilk crust and all those vegetables, potatoes, and everything we put in it. So I hope y'all make it. And anyway, listen, if you don't mind to go to Cheryl K's Cooking Diaries, and if you don't mind to like and follow my page, and please share my video, I would greatly appreciate that. And the link is above for that. And if you don't mind, also go over to my YouTube channel and like and subscribe there. I would greatly appreciate it. And even share my videos on YouTube. And the link is below for that one. So listen, guys, I've had a great time showing you all this pot pie tonight. And listen, everyone, please stay safe out there. And always remember to keep God in your heart and God in your life. Bye.